great way to do the last segment. I think this is going to create some highlights. So what we're going to do going forward, since we actually get social media comments now, is we're going to start reading out some of the social media comments. Is there any way to cut the comment and actually show it on the screen?
We can put it on the next episode for sure.
Cool. We'll do that for the next ones.
Oh, I can kind of put it on this one as well. We can put it on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do it for the next time. We don't want to mess around too much on the show because we're still learning this technology. But next time we'll go ahead and we'll actually pull what you can do, Donovan. You play in the last segment. You pull some of the comments that are most interesting to you, and then also you catch me off guard, so I might start insulting people. That always gets viewership. Have you ever heard that saying that no publicity is bad publicity?
Sure did.
So hit us with the first comment. Let's get our thoughts on this because this video had 60,000 views.
60,000 views.
Oh, we have a video with 60,000 views. Who was doing most of the talking, me or Ben?
Both of you guys.
Oh, we were both talking.
Someone said 15-year mortgage is the dumbest move you can make.
15-year mortgage is the dumbest move you can make.
So someone asked why, and they said, because it's a secured debt. Why would you want to give the bank its money back faster when you can earn more in the market?
I agree. Dave Ramsey doesn't. Was this the one where we talked about Dave? Can you?
Yes.
That is.
Hold on. This is what we need to do.
That is
Can
a
you
really
play
good
the
topic.
clip for us? Just play the clip.
I'll put it out.
Yeah. Just play it so people can hear what we're talking about. You know what I like? You know who's absolutely pissed? Who? At both of us right now? Dave Ramsey. Well, he says 20% down, 15-year mortgage, and that advice is great advice. That is great advice, and that can work. But there's other ways to make it work as well, right?
What Grant Cardone also said, you don't buy a house if you have $1 million in the bank.
Grant Cardone's an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, Ramsey says a lot of good things too, but
he does, and I agree with.
I disagree with that piece, and the reason why, and I'll just say real quick, is because a mortgage is, I mean, it's the everyday man's ability to build wealth because it's financing spread out over 30 years. There's no other way. In most countries, you can't even do that. No. This is one of the very few countries out there. I think us in Canada are the only ones with the availability to have a 30-year mortgage that lets you spread out those payments, that gives you the cash flow, the benefit to your cash flow that allows you to buy a home, finance it at 97%, like with only 3% down payment, 3.5% down payment, whatever you're able to get. You know who's absolutely pissed? Who? First off, how the hell did we get 60,000 views on that? I did not think that was controversial. Maybe
I mean,
I know that it's a great topic. It's a great topic.
Yeah.
So, Donovan, read the first one again. The first comment that you wanted our opinions on, because we're going to just respond, and then we'll go on. Maybe we can go on. You and I will go on TikTok together, and we'll respond to someone. We got 3 minutes.
15-year mortgage.
Yep.
Someone said 15-year mortgage is the dumbest move you can make because it's secured debt. Why would you want to pay the bank back its money faster when you can earn more in the market?
So, based off of what we talked about in this episode, it's not actually the bank's money; it's your money that they're lending out.
Yes.
And I'm with you. If I can have less of a payment, and then I can leverage the additional cash flow that I have because I have less of a payment into a good investment that earns more than the interest rate that I'm making, then I'm making a profit. But I don't think that most people are smart enough to do that.
Correct. I mean, we just talked earlier this episode about how do banks make money. Because they take the money that they have on hand and they use it to generate more money. And that is what you can do. Now, I mean, you need to look into your options because paying down additionally, but it is going to provide some value. So look into your option, but having yourself stuck with a 15-year mortgage that you can't get out of is, I mean, you're handicapping yourself because you're having one option that you're locked into for 15 years. Well, you can't move it. You can't adjust.
And that's what they're saying. Like you can always pay more, but you can't pay less.
Bingo.
And then the other piece to that is if you locked in that 15-year mortgage 2 years ago and your interest rate is say 3%,
right?
There's zero chance that you're going to refinance that 3% and are you going to go to a 30 or 7% and pay the same amount that you're paying on the 3% 15? No, you're not. And so when I say people aren't smart enough to make an investment that's going to make more than what their interest rate is, I don't mean smart as like they're dumb. I mean ignorant to the fact and how to do it because it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's a risk. So where the Dave Ramsey comment comes in is he says pay off that mortgage as quick as possible so that you have less debt, so that you have more cash in your hand. Where somebody like myself, I'm going to leverage myself but not over leverage myself to where I'm earning more cash flow. So I'm increasing the cash flow. Now, before you make that decision, let me tell you, I've lost a lot of money trying to do this. And I learned things the hard way. I call it the school of hard knocks. So I agree with the 15-year. I'm not doing a 15-year if I can do a 30-year and still pay it off in 12 by paying extra.
But someone said, do the math. Look at the difference you pay in interest on 30 years versus 15.
But if you pay the extra money per month,
right?
Cut the
Look at what
back,
you do with the money.
A couple of things. One, you're not paying more interest if you pay the mortgage off quicker. You're paying less interest, and it'll be equivalent to a 15-year if you pay it off in 15.
Well, you get a little lower rate, but
yeah,
at the same time, that flexibility matters,
right?
Like, because there's other things that you can do with that money that will generate more money.
To my second point was, what can you do with the other money, right? Bingo. So I'm in a 30-year mortgage. Guess what? Just closed on an investment property today.
Yep.
Closed on the second one back in November.
That's
right.
Yep.
That we're turning into a two unit. So I would not have been able to take my extra funds in a 15-year mortgage. I would have been paying a lot more for that 15-year mortgage. And guess what? My house's value increased at a higher percent than what my interest rate is. So my primary residence increased at a higher interest rate. I took the extra money that I would have been paying on a 15-year. I put it into a bank account. And shout out to my beautiful wife, Liz Campo, who pushes me to do smart things, because back in the day, I would have been like staying on the bar, taking shots and throwing dollar bills in the air and saying baller. But anyways, long story short, I now own two investment properties, which is going to be three doors. One of them's 2 acres of land. Donovan loves this one. Like, it was so clean when we got there. He was like, this is great. But and we're coming out with a video on that, right? On what it is. So long story short, yeah. I would not have been able to do that paying a 15-year mortgage, because it would have taken up all. So now I've generated more cash flow. So I'm actually making more money, even though I'm in more debt, but I'm gaining appreciation, and paying someone else is going to be paying down. So
right. There was someone that mentioned that also, like, if you didn't buy a house during COVID, then you kind of got left behind this cycle.
If you didn't have a house during COVID or before,
pay for a house,
you lost so much money.
Yeah.
Like, you lost so much money in wealth. But listen,
but you're still not behind, because you can still.
You are behind though, because it's compounding.
Are
you going to see a 22% gain in a single year?
You're behind, but what I'm saying is, not too late to start.
It's never too late to start.
Exactly, because this is still a good time to buy. We just talked about that numbers, 6.5 million shortage in housing. So we have a supply issue. So that means that you could still a good time to buy. Houses are still going to appreciate.
They're going to appreciate, and depending on your market, they're going to appreciate faster. And what I would say to people is, like, look at it from a market by market standpoint. You want to diversify your investment. You might want to diversify your market as well. Yeah. So that is. To the person who said you got left behind, yes, they lost out on, housing prices went up by 50%, even if I think they've dipped about 10% here recently. So you're up 40% in the 2.5-year period. Dude, like, what?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Do the numbers on that. Like, a $300,000 house that increased in value by overall, like, a net increase of 40%. What is that?
That's a ton of money.
Do it. You have your calculator. Do it. But let's let the people know. If you bought a $300,000 house in 2020, it's increased in value by 40% because of the COVID-driven increases, people moving to certain areas. What is the house worth today?
By 40%?
40%, because that's what we're looking at. Like, here in the Carolinas, we're looking at 40% increases in some places.
420.
Wow. So you just made $120,000 in 2 years by just living in your primary residence. Again, Grant Cardone says that you don't want to buy a primary residence till you have $1 million in the bank. Donovan, you want to know what I think? Grant Cardone's an idiot. You're telling, where else can you get $120,000 gain without having to do much other than live in the place? Because you're paying rent typically if you don't have but you're not getting that $120,000 value renting. I think that's more of an argument to, why we're right and my haters are wrong. What's the next comment, Donovan?
Hold on, let's do this real quick too.
What?
So just looking at the payment difference. So for $300,000, if you bought it in, let's say in 2020 at what, a 3.5% rate?
At the most, 2.875 on the conventional is what I was getting, high credit score people.
Right. So that's $1,347 as a 30-year fixed payment. If you did it in a 15-year, you'd probably get with that same 2.75. You get a little bit of a discount there on interest rate. You are paying $2,035 a month.
So it's an extra $400 to $500 a month.
$600 a month. That $600. Yep. But what can you do with that $600 a month?
Multiply that by 12. Let's show people the year-over-year savings on a 30-year versus 15-year from a monthly cash flow standpoint. Because that's what you have to look at, right?
That's $7,200 a year.
So that's a down payment on an investment property in 2 years.
Right. And that's $14,400 in 2 years.
And we're not saying take that extra cash flow and go out and spend it. Take that extra cash flow, put it into another investment.
That's how, yes.
And that's why I would argue for the 30-year. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to the American people.
Because guess what you did with that down payment that you put for that $300,000 house you bought? You just made $120,000. Now you take that extra money that you put it into a new house. I mean, it's not going to be $120,000, but you're still make what?
I would even
$60,000, $50,000.
Right. So I would even argue that you take it as a cash out. You rent out that house. You continue to gain. This is a house. You want a house hack? Here it is. So in 2020, you bought a house. It's worth $300,000, right? 2 years later, we've had about a 40% gain overall, 30, 40, 50% in some markets, right? You're at a $420,000 value. I would take a cash out on my primary residence and move that up to an 80% LTV, and I have that money now, right? So I have this pile of money. It's sitting in my bank account. And I would buy a Lamborghini. No, I'm just kidding. I would not do that. Do not buy a Lamborghini. I would then take that money and put it as a down payment on either a new primary or a new investment property. And then I would be cash flow and make sure I'm cash flowing on it, right? So, or maybe I spread that $120,000 out and buy a bunch of $100,000 houses, and I have multiple units, or I rent out the house I just took the cash out on and buy a new primary and upgrade my family. Maybe I had a baby, right? And I need another room. So now I've upgraded my family. I'm renting this out. And this person who's living in my house is now paying for my rent. They're paying for the higher interest rate. They're paying my mortgage. They're paying interest rate. I'm gaining the appreciation here in the Carolinas of 9% at the low end. I think 15%, right? So I gain 15% over the next 12 months. You know, I'm making money. That's a house hack, right? That's a house hack. Another house hack that would be cool is I told my brother to do this, and he's being smart. Go and buy a house, and he's 21 years old. He's going to buy a house. He's doing an FHA loan, right? And he's going to rent out the other 2 rooms because he's in college, and that's going to cover the mortgage, and he's gaining the value, and he doesn't have to pay anything. How about this? You want to know another one?
What?
If I was a single man, if I could do it all over again, which I don't want to. I love my wife and my family dearly, and I love the business. I don't love you, but you're cool. I would go and I would find a 2-unit property. I would say it's a primary residence. I would do an FHA loan on it. I would live in one unit, rent the other unit out, and then a year later I would rent the unit I'm living in out, and I would move into another 2-unit all the way from the time I was 22 to 30, and I would be a multimillionaire by 35.
Yes.